to the Fillinger-Kimbers, January 3, 2024. I'm sorry I'm not able to be there with you today. Your home in Vernier is one of the very special places in the world, certainly in my world. What a huge impact you all have had on my life since the summer of 2000 when Jackie K got us together. Anyone watching this video that doesn't have a Brompton folding bicycle, shame on you. Right? I know you know better. So I believe the last I saw John was at Kevin's wedding in Florida, cutting a striking figure in that sharp blue suit, the debonair, handsome devil, absolutely killing it. But I mostly remember all the times at the house in Vernier, sitting at the table, playing cards with Leia and Kevin and Talia, watching movies, those epic conversations with Don and Greg and John. Unfortunately, I was not a participant, right? Just a fly on the wall and just some of the best moments of my life. Literary and worldview conversations with Iris, going to the market across the border. What a privilege. Unfortunately, the occasion at this time is John's untimely passing. Well, he finally has all the answers. Now he knows the rest of the story, right? I can see that twinkle in his eye. Some things I remember in the precious moments I was able to spend with him. Of course, his athletic prowess was prodigious. An outdoors enthusiast, fierce competitor, mostly against himself, with himself, I think. He never failed to suggest a ride, a hike, a run. Sometimes that ride or hike or run would be to the destination where we were going to ride, hike, or run. He swam and skied. I did not. But we rode, hiked, and ran until we couldn't. The collection of bikes I rode over the years, one had 3 wheels, right? Missing. It was always Leia's old bike, right? And I would be thinking, where is her new bike, right? Never the same. I never got to ride the same bike twice with John, but they all had knobby tires and only partial use of the gears. But that's old. Those are stories that are well told by now. But meanwhile, I'd be on these 2-cent bikes and he would be in a full body suit with no visual evidence of separation between him and his bike, right? We hear about the generative braking technology in the Teslas, the electronic vehicle. She had generative bicycle seat, helmet, gloves, pack, right? Everything he had was designed to generate some advantage to motion, wind, and friction to the nth degree. He wouldn't even pedal. He would just accelerate by thinking, right? Like a dolphin propelling itself through the water. And he was something else on that bicycle. I'll never forget John's life and relationship counseling while on those excursions. I'd be complaining or trying to work through some relationship issue or something. And Marcus, don't say anything. She'll take care of it. Let her handle it. You don't want that conversation, right? Take it from me, all this while running up a mountain or something. Just as Jackie introduced me to the Fillinger-Kimbers, I'm honored to have connected the Fillinger-Kimbers with Kianki and Valentina Thomas and Ian and Brandy Williamson and their families. Sitting at the table at the Thomases with Ian, Kianki, and John was a special one-time occasion. 3 black guys from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill in Imency, Switzerland, with John Kimber. I was always amazed at his thought process and ingenuity around fixes and solutions to things like mounting the projector there in the living room, between the living room and the kitchen. Probably still there with a clothesline hanger on it or something. Putting the couches on roller skates. Right, rendering a shower from an entire bathroom, right? His fixes for a travel bag in disrepair or needing to transport a piece of art, a poster or a sculptor, unparalleled, right? With all materials employed, maintaining their integrity for future use. No nails, screws, staples, or knots, Right, he commented on the paperclip I use. I pulled it out right here. The paperclip I use to join my driver's license and bank card. Right, you know, he would look over your shoulder and I like your clip. Right, and I remember thinking, no shit, you know, these clips are all over. These are load bearing clips all over your house. Oh, John had the touch, man. Even his he could make the best sandwiches, right? They would stay together, be perfectly fresh after transport, right? I'd be through 2 airports, pull out that sandwich. You could one-hand it. Not a piece of lettuce would fall off that thing while you're... he had the touch. Our kitchen will forever bear John's and the Fillinger-Kimber mark, right? Between the tea kettle, the fondue pot, paring knives, peelers, right? Of all things, a crepe maker. I think that's thanks to Kevin. The point is that John was a game changer, right? From diet and lifestyle to home construction. He and Iris did an amazing job raising 3 terrific kids. And John and Iris are so good to our Xavier and Maceo. Right, John presented Xavier with his first Swiss Army knife in Spain. I think Xavier was 7 years old at the time or so, right? Spending hours educating him on safety and technique. They'd be sitting over there on a bench, you know, forever, getting dark, and he's still carving out, you know, showing them how to do what he does. So Maceo learned to walk and run in the living room in Vernier. Or a day I'll never forget. Dahlia and I will always cherish. And when I would share with John some of the challenges Maceo had in school and more generally, John would always ask me, have you explained this to Maceo? Right? We all know John had a thing about time, right? Cooking vegetables, right? Who among us doesn't know from John that vegetables placed in boiling water are ready in 4 to 6 minutes? Now you get that tap on the shoulder, right? Those are ready, right? I'll share one last shop-worn anecdote about John and time. I was visiting during Leia's high school graduation, and the ceremony was something like 10 a.m., 10:15, 10:30, whatever, that Saturday morning, I think it was. And we were all in the kitchen the night before, and the question of what time to leave came up. And so John asked Leia what time she thought we should leave for the event. Of course, Leia was her father's daughter, right? We might as well have asked his clone what time to leave that morning. Not to overstate the point, Leia was always her own person, but we get that she knew implicitly and with 100% clarity how to map this particular issue. So she thought about it for a moment and said 9:15. But John had a thing sometimes about considering more variables than others and rendering a decision, right? So, Kevin, you haven't thought of everything, right? Comes to mind, but not to be outdone by his precocious daughter, John shot back, no, 9:10. Right. No one has ever been so early to a graduation as we were that day. I remember the surprise. We pulled up in the street, not a car in sight, parked right in front of the venue. Like, look out the window. There's the door. Right. And we walked in and the place was empty. The floor was bare. There was one guy, the janitorial service, who had like a couple stacks of chairs on rollers behind him. Just started to unload. I think he had one or the first 2 chairs down in the front row. He was so surprised to see us. I mean, he asked us if we were the caterer. Pointing out to us where to set up. All right, so I'm known to employ hyperbole in my storytelling, but it may be entirely true that we helped set up the chairs for Leia's high school graduation. As you may be able to tell, John Kimber is one of the very prominent voices in my head, and always will be. I cherish him so much. Those are ready. Okay? I love you, John.